Good morning, Richland County. It is 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, August 22nd. Richland County Board of Commissioners is now in session. I am Commissioner Cliff Mears, my fellow Commissioner Bill Banks. Commissioner Tony Barrow is out today. Our clerk Stacy Kroll is here. County Administrator Andrew Keller and Paul Lintern is here for a visit from him in a little bit. From the media, we have Greg Kale from WMFD, and online we have Alan Carl from the News Journal and Richland Source, respectively. Paul, since you're here, do you want to just go ahead and speak first?
I'd be glad to. I want to invite you to a dedication on August 31st. It's Thursday, 11 o'clock at the Jericho Wall. It's a wall of remembrance and recovery. And it is for families to bring comfort to those who've lost loved ones because of overdose addiction. And it is a place on West Dixon Avenue that has taken a huge transformation in the last month alone. It has been a parking lot area that has a retaining wall that is 8 feet by 180 feet. And it has a banner across the top of the fence there. It says the Jericho Wall of Remembrance and Recovery. And it also will have commissioned artists in each of the 16 bays that are there. It was a retaining wall originally, and the bays are there to hold the wall in place. We have.
Good morning, Richland County. It is 9:30 a.m. on Thursday, July 13th. Richland County Board of Commissioners.
I know that voice.
I'm Richard. So do I.
I've heard that.
My fellow Commissioners Tony Barrow, Daryl Banks, our clerk Stacy Kroll, Keller. Carl Hummel is here from the media.
I have no idea how to stop that.
Captain Jimmy Sweat, Captain Blunk, Missy Houghton from Sheldon. We're going to be talking about
Righty. Interesting. Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, sorry for the interruption.
You know, I worked with this woman too. I know how to.
Yeah, you know how I am. Goodness.
Anyway. Yeah, you know all the statistics, you know all the overdose things, and this is simply an opportunity to create a memorial art park in a place that is in the middle of where much of the concerns are. It's also in the middle of the Imagination District. It's also surrounded by 7 churches that are right in that area. It is also part of just where 4 wards of the city connect. So it's very much in the center of town. It's a place where just 3 weeks ago, a young man was found in the weeds across the street, having died of an overdose. And so it is very much a real spot. And the transformation of an old parking lot has been pretty remarkable. If you go down West Dixon, you don't see this place until you see it. And when you drive down West Dixon Avenue, just before you get to Bowman, on the left, you'll be pretty surprised at what is there. We have 4 commissioned artists who are 2 have completed, 2 are in the midst of completing their work, and they will have put very inspirational artwork on about 70% of the wall by the time they're done. The rest of it will be put there in the future by people in the community and in interactive things. We'll be putting names on the wall according to the requests of families. We'll put probably about 20 names on the wall that day. And with each person, we'll have a very brief story that will accompany that. And these are names of people that have either died of overdose or have died of related to addiction. And it is not that all the names are public record, but we're not just putting them up there because they're public record. We're putting them up there because the families would like them up there. And so this is a start. Over the next years, I have no doubt there'll be dozens, if not hundreds of names that would be put on that wall. And it will be a place where people can come as a memorial for their family members. And it's also a place that's going to be inspiration and encouragement for people that are in recovery. I have spoken quite often to people in CAC and in recovery groups at the VOA, and all of them know people have names that they would want on that wall. And at the same time, very inspired by that wall, they're saying, I'm going to be determined that my name is not on that wall. And that's part of the equation. The Mental Health Board has commissioned a pavilion a beautiful pavilion that's going to be built once the permits are through. And it is funded by the 18 organizations that are part of the Michigan County Mental Health Board. And it will be a place of education and encouragement as well. Much information will be provided there as part of it. And so on that day, while it is not, the wall is not for the benefit of the officials in our community so much, I want asking you to be there and to witness this 1 hour ceremony in which we can recognize that the community will benefit because of all that is offered at this wall. There's your invitation.
Well, thank you.
What time did you say it was?
At 11 o'clock. That's also National Overdose Awareness Day,
What day of the week is that?
a week from Thursday,
Thursday.
which of course is right at the end of your meeting. So,
All right.
I believe you'll be gone.
Yeah, I won't be.
you know, and again, I want you to be aware of it and I want to encourage you. I will not be offended if you're not able to be there.
Unfortunately, I'll be out of state.
I understand that, but I do expect that you will get a sense of what's going on with that in the days to come. This is, we call it not only dedication of all that's completed, it's also commencement, like in high school graduation, finished 12 years, guess what? You got your whole life ahead of you. So we're going to commence with this wall and we'll have a team of people that are working with it and continuing to grow it and make it a special place. So.
We've had so many last few years. Why do you think that is?
All sorts of circumstances that are coming down. And I'm a preacher of grace. I'm a pastor. So I know that it's the forces of evil that are causing us to see what we don't see and to ignore what we shouldn't ignore. And we know that addiction is not, it is related to mental illness. It is not something that, nobody wakes up saying, I think I'll become addicted today. And when you see the first part of the wall, the only part that's really related to addiction, most of the wall is related to hope and recovery. Part that's related to addiction shows some mountains that you're trying to climb, and it shows some threads that are intermingling, like they're really controllable now, but all of a sudden they turn into rope, and then it turns into a chain, and then it turns into bondage. And in the middle of that drawing is a semicolon, which is a symbol for recovery for a lot of people. That semicolon, in which we put two sentences together, says this end of the sentence is finished. Now we start a new sentence. And you can see on the wall very clearly the bondage, but also the breaking free. And then the rest of the wall is about freedom, about grace, about breaking free. But the reason, Daryl, I wish we had a simple solution.
Well, I guess I probably shouldn't say this, but closing our border would have the biggest effect of anything that could be done at this time.
On the fentanyl, of course.
Yes.
Yes. And that has devastated communities all around. The parents that, and I talked to a parent yesterday, the man who had died right across the alley. We talked to them. They live in Nashville or in Tennessee. They were not, parents know that their children knew who God was, that they were followers, that they were believers, and yet they died of overdose. And it is just a paradox, but it's also the paradox of who we are. We are broken people, except by the grace of God. And my goodness, it is not that we should overlook what people are doing to themselves, but we also can't simply sit in judgment because know the factors are way beyond what they can be. And the things that are coming in that devastate people so quickly that kill them is just, it is horrible, no question. And, and yet family members are not surprised often when they get the news. They knew this was coming at some point. I'll stop with that.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
For the invitation. Thank you for all the fine work you do, but don't go away just yet. We might have some questions from the media, and we'll start with Greg.
All right. Well, let me shut off my phone first, which is something. Here's a reminder. Always do that before you go into a meeting.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Okay.
Just in case you guys have not heard that.
Good advice.
Reverend Paul, you mentioned just the churches, you go through this downtown. I mean, we're filled with churches, which is a good thing. So what is the role of the church to walk alongside these people who are in recovery to support?
8 years ago, we started praying about the opioid epidemic, and we brought a group of pastors from across the kingdom into this and say, what do we do with this? Every one of us felt helpless, because you can't invite this into a congregation, people, and not expect chaos to try to tear it apart. And yet, how do you create safe avenues where we can do ministry for that? Up and down Park Avenue, we've been calling from where Marion meets Park Avenue on west, we've been calling it the Godsfield District. And people hear Mansfield as Godsfield, and sometimes they get nervous, like, are we trying to change the name? No, but we're trying to acknowledge the reality. We've claimed that as Godsfield because that is a ground zero. So much of the ministry that has to happen. There's a ministry there that's taking women off the streets who are trafficked. There's a ministry that is 2 houses that are trying to minister to men as to ship things. The churches along the way, Mosaic and the Ark and Church Requel and the Episcopal Church and First Christian Church and New Beginnings are all churches that are reaching out into that exact community. And so the role of the church is to face the reality, to minister to the needs, to be people of mercy, and then just walk alongside until grace can happen, until the change can happen. Recovery comes from within, but it doesn't come on your own. Thank you.
Al, do you have any questions for Paul?
Al?
Yeah, one thing I don't remember seeing about this project, who's covering the cost of developing that?
The mental health board is paying for the pavilion. We've had donations from several churches and individuals that have paid for the artwork. The artwork has been half of the artwork has been matched by a grant through the Richland Foundation in the Mansfield Arts Council. And I'm not getting the letters and the initials right, but there's an arts council in Mansfield designed to create artwork throughout the community. So half of the artist fees and the cost of the painting are coming from that, the rest from donations. The Downtown Improvement Committee paid for a part of the parking lot repavement. We've added 25 new spaces in that area too, that'll be within a block of the Renaissance and of the Imagination Museum. And I transferred my building, St. Luke's, to the Ark in return for them paying for the rest of the asphalt. So the funding has been in a variety of ways. We still have expenses to come, and they will be through private donations and individuals that feel compelled to give. That's kind of the gist of it. We have some major, even the banner was donated by the Seaman Family Foundation in Worcester. So we've got involvement there. The banner, by the way, is 5 feet by 190 feet, and it's on 2 sides. So that's not a small banner. And 60 of us got together last Monday to install it, and none of us had ever done anything like this before. It went up immediately. 500 zip ties on that chain link fence. So it went very, very well. But it was another example of, well, I've never done this before. Have you? Okay, well, let's see how it works. And that's kind of, I guess that's the way I do ministry. And that's why it's good that I'm not a public official.
Yeah, that's all I had. Thank you.
She will attest.
Anything else, Al?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Carl, any questions?
No, not right now. I've done a couple of stories about the wall, and Paul, I got another one that'll be running this afternoon based upon information you gave me yesterday, and
Thank you.
we'll continue to cover it. Congratulations.
Very good. Very good. All right.
Well, thank you for sharing your time with us.
Right.
Thank you for the information.
Go do your jobs.
That's good to see.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to our regular agenda. Can I have a Open to certify the record of proceedings for August 17th.
So move.
Oh, second.
Mr. Mears,
Yeah,
Mr. Banks.
Yes.
have a motion to approve requisitions.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Mears, Mr. Banks.
Yes.
And we have before us the request to authorize Children's Services to dispose of a 2013 Ford Focus SE sedan with 91,850 miles. The bad transmission and with the repair costs would exceed the value, so they would like to put it on Gov Deals. Can I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Yeah, I'll second.
Mr. Mears,
Yes.
Mr. Banks.
Yes.
I have a couple other things as well, a couple late additions. Can I have approval to authorize the termination of a Dayspring employee who basically has not been coming into work?
Absolutely.
A second.
Mr. Mears.
Yes.
Mr. Banks.
Yes.
And last item that I have as an addition is a conversation with Amanda Miller at the wastewater treatment plant yesterday. Very hot day, the air conditioning unit went out. But she was able to get a couple of quick quotes. And they're scurrying right now. The air conditioning back running. Fortunately, it's a little bit cooler this morning, but more hot weather is on its way. She's requesting acceptance of a quote from H&H Supply for $3,600 unit we installed.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Mears.
Yes.
Banks.
Yes.
Do we have any other business to come before the board right now?
Have none.
Questions, Carl?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you, though.
Okay. Al, do you have any questions for us on this business?
Nope, I'm good too. Thank you.
Both, and Greg, anything?
Nope.
Hearing no other business, the Richland County Board of Commissioners stands adjourned at 9:47 a.m.